In this video, I want to show you some fantastic apps that can make scales more interesting. But the first thing I want to show you is actually not on the iPad at all, so this is a bit of a bonus. And that is the #1 way to improve scales so easily with your students and make them more interesting, and that's to accompany them while they improvise or even just play their scales up and down. So to do that, you're going to do 4 chords. I'm sure many of you know them, but just in case, we've got a 1 chord, a 5 chord, a 6 chord, and a 4 chord. And we can play those in any rhythm. So putting the obvious cadence on to the end of that is just a little bonus, and often my students over time, maybe over the first few lessons of doing this, they'll start landing on the tonic at the end, which is fantastic. It feels good, it sounds good, and they're learning so much about music and the way it's structured. Now, but I promised you apps, right? So don't worry, we're getting to the apps now. I'm going to show you 4 apps that I love for practicing scales. The first app I want to show you is called Musiclock, and this is probably my #1 favorite. So the other ones are good, but this one is the best in my opinion. This is basically just a backing track app, and it works on iPhone and iPad. Now, all at the side here, you'll have all different types of scales. Let's go to the majors, and then you see here we can select different backing tracks, right? A lot of students like Calgary Candy or London Lounge, Venice Beach, but I mean, they're all good. Those are the really poppy ones, but my favorite is New Orleans Note, so I'm going to go to that and play you this. Let's do it in D just for fun. And you'll see at the top here you have the scale in notation, and the bottom you have it on the keyboard. Okay, so you can see how students can play along with that, and it's a good bit of fun. It sounds really great, and the interface is fantastic. That's the thing I love about Musiclock. I'm going to show you one more section. Let's go to the minors, because this will show you the one niggle I have with this app, and many teachers will be quite bothered by this, to be honest with you. So harmonic minors, let's go with Chicago Chill. Okay, now this is the issue. G harmonic minor, it's showing G, A sharp, or A sharp. Not great, guys. Most of them show correctly. This is the one I found. I think there might be one other where they do sharps where they should be flats. But if you can ignore that, this is a fantastic app to work with. Let's go to one that doesn't have that problem. We've got A minor here. And we'll try another track on this one. Let's try a faster one. Rostock Rock. Okay, so you can see these tracks are pretty cool, right? They really appeal to students, and the interface really sells it as well. I love this app. I love what they're doing here. The next 2 apps I want to show you are called Smart Scales and Scale Tracks, and I put these in a similar category. They're actually similar to Musiclock in a way because they're backing track apps, but they work slightly differently, and the tracks are more classical in style. I'll show you Smart Scales first. So this has the actual sheet music, and it will scroll when I play it. Let me just hop back here to show you what it looks like when you go in. There's a few different instruments here, which is great for those of you who teach other instruments. If we go into piano, let's go to grade 2. Now this is the demo version of the app, so it's only going to show us some things, not absolutely everything that they have available, but we can still have a go. So you'll see those are great out there, but we've got G major, so we can hop in there, and then we can change the track up the top here. Let's try out a couple of them. Okay, now what we can also do in this one is turn off and on the actual lead and the metronome. So that's smart scales. Now I'll show you scale tracks. This is also the demo version, so we're going to see some of these, not all of them. Let's go with 1 octave. You see we can change the octaves here. I kind of prefer this interface because the other one is built around a specific exam system, and that's a bit restrictive to its usability, and it's pretty easy to just select the scales you need for your exam system. So I kind of prefer this way of looking at it, and I don't like to structure scales around exams either, right? So let's try 2 octaves. Let's try harmonic minor. Okay, we've got A and C available to us in the demo version. Let's try C. And we can have in canon C. I quite like this one. Okay, now you can see that's going pretty slowly, so I'm going to speed it up to the maximum, which is only 50, so 100 for crotchets. And that's not super fast, but obviously they're varied and they are based on the level that they're at. You can take away the solo in this one as well and change the volume here. Let me show you one more in this app. Let's go to 1 octave this time and majors. And I'll try A major. And let's try driving strings. So you can see this one also has lots of different styles that you can use, but it's more classical. I would say that this is my second favorite one. Smart Scales is a little bit restrictive in the way the grades work, and also the tracks, they're interesting, they're fun, but they're quite kiddie. They're not really cool. So I think they're a harder sell for your slightly older students, your tweens and teens. Okay, I'm going to show you one more, and this is in a bit of a different category. This is called Piano Maestro, and if you don't know it already, a lot of you will, but if you don't know Piano Maestro already, this is a fantastic app where you can play along with music that's scrolling across the screen, and it actually listens to you and gives you feedback on how you're doing. It's really gamified, really fun, especially for kids, but even adult students like this one. It has a lot more than just scales, okay? It's not just a scales app, but they do have a fantastic scales collection, so let me show you it. When we go into Piano Maestro, whether you have a trial account or the full premium version, you're going to go to start a lesson with any student and then explore. Then there's 3 options here. We've got journey, library, home challenge. I'm going to go to the library to find the scales. Exercises next. So here we can filter up the top for what type of scales we want to do, but also whether we want it hands together or not. So here we have the hands together options. We've got 2 octaves, major scale, mirror movement, which is what I would call contrary motion. We've got 2 octaves, similar motion, which they call parallel, same difference. So let's go with that. 2 octaves, parallel motion. And you can change the key here, so you can do different major keys. Let's go with A. We click play, and then it's going to load up. Now when it loads up, it's going to want you to play the note to get started. So it's asking for this A here. gosh, I feel awesome about myself. And if I didn't get that 3 stars, I would want to go back and try it again. So that's the magic of Piano Maestro. It is really good for that. Now, the thing about Piano Maestro, that small niggle I have, is in the 1 octaves, it repeats the top note. And I know many teachers would like to teach it that way anyway. I don't, so I wish they'd take it away. But that's just a tiny little complaint that I have. Not really a complaint at all. This one is fantastic for gamifying things and also for assessing their playing. The only thing it won't assess, there was a 4-beat note there at the end of each repetition, and if I lift that up after 1 beat, it's not going to catch that, but it's doing pretty well to catch everything. You can also plug this in to a keyboard using a MIDI or USB cable, and that's how I use it most of the time, because it'll be when I have siblings or other lessons where 2 students are here, but I need to work with one independently. That's a great thing for another student to be doing. They love doing it, and it is pretty much completely independent for anyone over the age of, say, 7 to really navigate it and get through it. Even younger than that, they only needed a bit of help to get going. So that's a fantastic asset to have in my studio, and scales are just one of the many things that they offer. So those are my favorite 4 scales apps. We've got Piano Maestro, Scale Tracks, Smart Scales, and Musiclock. My absolute number 1 would have to be Musiclock, just because it's cool, it's simple, it's easy for students to get started with, it encourages creativity, they can improvise with it. So many reasons why that's great. If they just fixed G minor, I'd be very happy with that one. My next choice would be Piano Maestro for that gamification and how it listens to students as they play. And then coming up after that, we've got Smart Scales and Scale Tracks. Scale Tracks I slightly prefer to Smart Scales. I think I will upgrade that one. Smart Scales, I'm not so sure. There's so many other choices out there, and there's just those few minor errors in it that it's a good option, but it's not the best that's out there. I hope you enjoy getting to grips with some of these scales apps and incorporating them in your lessons and bringing some fun, injecting some fun and creativity into your scale teaching. It really is so vital to keep students engaged and understanding what scales are really for, right? They're for making music. They should sound musical. I strongly believe that. If you have any other thoughts about scales, how to use technology in lessons, other scale activities to try, or if you've tried one of these apps and either loved it or hated it, I would love to hear from you in the comments. And while you're here, make sure you subscribe, because we'll have another video to help you out with some more piano teaching, fun and information very soon.